So I'm going to show you an image of this gentleman right now, and when you see his face, I want you to say the first word that comes to mind, what you think of, okay? And I'm speaking of course, this man right here, Andrew Tate. Controversial figure. So first thing that comes to mind, Maria, go.
Oh my God. How do you call machista?
Like F-boy. It's kind of like an F-boy.
Yeah, F-boy.
Like a fuck boy?
Yeah.
That's the first word that comes to mind?
Yeah.
Fuck boy. Okay, go ahead. Show the picture again.
Yeah, so this guy, I know he's like controversial because of like his way with women and what he says about women and stuff, but I actually was listening to his podcast about finance, and he had some great points to talk about.
So what first word that comes to mind?
I don't know, because I don't know him, so I don't have any words.
You don't have a strong opinion. Tess?
No.
Can I use Dubai? He would be the type of guy to fly the girls there.
He would be a Dubai flight
Yeah.
pilot, not a attendant.
Yeah.
Okay. Angela?
Bugattis.
Bugattis. Okay. Now, 10 being I really, really like this guy, like I like what he stands for. 1 being like I hate him. What number would you give him?
To be honest, I don't actually know too much.
Of what you know about him. You've seen his face before.
I mean, probably like a 3. I could care less.
Okay, so he's low on your list.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come to you last, Angela. Maria.
I would say 5.
So you're middle of the road with this guy.
Yeah, because I don't like his opinion about women.
Mm-hmm.
But as business stuff, he's amazing.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Diane?
I'm with Maria. It's 5.
You're a 5.
Like, I don't know much really about his darker side. I really don't know much about this man, but from the only podcast I heard of him, and I was actually trying to find more podcasts of him, but I couldn't. Maybe you could tell me. You seem to know him well.
Yeah, I can tell you 1 or 2 or podcasts.
Yeah, so yeah.
The podcast we did with him, you could watch.
So yeah,
it's great.
From the knowledge that he has, he seems to be very knowledgeable man. So.
Mm-hmm. Angela, how about you?
Yeah.
10, I appreciate him. 1, I depreciate him.
Without brown nosing, I'll just keep it at a 9. I'll say 9 just because I can appreciate his marketing tactics. He's a genius at that. And I think he has core values, but I don't think he shows it enough. And I think the type, I don't even know. I would just say the type of way that he it made him look bad, but I get it. I guess as a content creator, I understand. But the type of women that he surrounds himself with, it's questionable. And I think that's pretty much it. I think everyone that follows him, it could be hit or miss. You could either have the right idea or you could fall into the wrong dark hole following it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, the reason I bring it up, let me actually ask the audience. So, you know that we feel the need to talk about this because I think this guy and his brother, Tristan, have been wrongfully accused, witch hunt, conspiratorialized, and basically been fingered as being someone that they're not. And they've been thrown in jail, and they were in jail for, 4 or 5 months with no charges. And that to me is the epitome of bullshit. You might not like someone, you might disagree with someone, you might fucking hate someone, but to lock them up, throw away the key, and not charge them with anything, to me is the epitome of bullshit. And I think I would say that about anyone, but I actually, fan, friend, and cohort of the Tates. What I'd like to know from the chat is, 1 through 10, where do you stand on Tate? Is he a 10? Is he a 9? Is he an 8? 1? You don't like him? You don't appreciate him? Whatever. So put that in the chat if you would. But here's some of the things that the recent court filings basically revealed. And this to me is the reason that I wanted to do this story. So they said, quote unquote, we also consider, this is because he has basically been accused of human trafficking, sex trafficking, which are very serious charges, okay? And we know that he's boisterous and loud and says things and a lot of things eloquently and some things I'm sure he would like to take back. But just because you say things doesn't mean that you did them or that you can have proven that you've done something. But basically, here's what this is. And this is, to me, where I had a bone to pick. This is from the Romanian courts. This is what they came out and said. We also consider that the length of the period spent in jail has been here it is, fair warning for the defendants and made them understand that their judicial situation as well as the consequences of the situation for their future and for the future of their families. So the court ruled house arrest was enough to ensure a fair investigation and preventing other crimes. And the courts extended the restrictions until May 29th. So the court came out and said that the reason that they sent the Tates home to be on house arrest was because basically they've been in jail long enough. We've delivered our message. We don't like what you stand for. And we've given you a fair warning that it's okay for you to go home. What kind of nonsense is that? Like, go to jail as a fair warning? Like, you either did something wrong and they proved it and you go to jail, or you're set free. They're held in jail for 4 or 5 months as a warning?
Yeah.
That to me is ridiculous. So here's my question to you ladies. Oh, the red jacket's coming off. I believe that they have nothing on him. I believe that a lot of what he said was outlandish and hyperbolic and sensational and all the above, but I don't think he was a human sex trafficker. Like, that'd be ridiculous. But he did admit to basically running a webcam business, essentially hiring OnlyFans girls to do webcam. That's not sex trafficking, okay? There's like a million companies that do, like, no one from OnlyFans is going to jail, okay? Women sign up to do OnlyFans, they make money. That's how it works. Nobody's like, go get Mr. OnlyFans CEO and throw him in jail. Women can choose what they want to do. So I have a big issue with being wrongfully accused, wrongfully thrown in jail. So my question to you ladies, because I want to get your opinion on this. You said that he's a 3, you gave him a 9, you said a 5, and you've heard some things and you've seen some things, and a lot of people have opinions on him. If it turns out that he is proven to be innocent, okay, wrongfully accused, wrongfully thrown in jail, right, was the biggest megastar in social media, the most Googled person on the planet for a brief period of time, the Romanian government comes in, locks him up, throw away the key, how would you assess his situation at that point? Would you feel bad for the guy? Would you care? Is this like a non-story to you? If someone's thrown in jail and locked up for a fair warning, would your perspective on him change at all? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I gave a 3 because I have just heard the stories, the articles about the sex trafficking. Other than that, I have not followed up on what's happened, what's the resolution, what's going on. So that's why I gave a 3, is because that's all I've heard about him and I haven't researched anything farther. So if it was wrongly done that he was in jail, of course, I think that's absolutely not okay, and I would put him at a 5 because
he would go from a 3 to a 5.
I still don't care enough to go either way. I don't really know like what the whole deal is with him, business side or non-business side. That's just what I've heard, so that's what I base my opinion on.
But I think a lot of people, because he catapulted to such stardom, you had to pick a side. You're like, yo, that guy's sick, he's awesome, or it's like, he's a sex trafficker, he's a piece of shit, he's a chauvinist, and I hate him. And a lot of people just rush to judgment. I think that's essentially what's happening here, is that there was a rush to judgment, and they're realizing we don't have anything on this guy, and now we're coming out with a story that we gave him a fair warning of jail.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say?
He will still be a 5 because he is still.
You're still a 5, homie.
I mean, he still made opinions that I do not support. You know.
Such as what?
He was like saying that he could be with a lot of women's because women's, in small words, women's are his property.
Yeah.
So, I hate that. But I feel like
I think that was. Go ahead. Yeah.
There's not freedom in speech. Like, he could say whatever he wants to say.
Yep.
And I feel like it's super unfair that he went to jail for just saying stuff. Like, you can do research about it and then prove if is true or if it's not, but
Yep.
not throw him to jail like just because you suspect.
And
You know?
remind the audience where you're from again.
Venezuela?
And remind the audience where you're from again.
Cuba.
Now, is there freedom of speech in Venezuela?
Hell no.
There's not.
No.
Is there freedom of speech where you're from? Okay. Is there freedom of speech in America?
Yes. Well,
Debatable.
kind of. kind of.
Debatable these days.
Yes.
But I
Thank
think
you,
we can
Gen
agree
Z.
that's what it should be here in America. So if he is acquitted and the lawsuit and the charges are dropped, he wouldn't look any better in your eyes?
No,
Okay.
because you cannot take the words back.
Got it. All right. Diane?
So yes, he has said some weird derogatory things about women. So you can't take that back. And I don't know much about the sex trafficking stuff, but I'm like a super conspiracy researcher nerd. So if I were to know about it, I would like find all the possible proof about it to see if it's actually true.
You'd be in your room with the
I'd be
connecting
like
of the
looking for
dots
the
and
proof, like,
the
okay, where are
markers and
these
rubber bands.
web cams that he's talking about? What is this business that LLC he opened up? Like, so I don't know.
You're going to get to the bottom of this. Okay.
I'm not really sure.
So
but,
he'd go from
yeah.
a 3 to 5 to you. You guys are going to just abstain from
Stay the
rush to
same.
judgment. You're staying at a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Staying at a 5. Angela? I know you've already at a 9, but how could he get to a 10 in your eyes?
Well, I mean, it's weird to call someone a 10 because I don't personally know him.
Yeah.
So my decisions wouldn't change because I just think that I didn't make my decision based off of what he was accused of. And I think that as far as that part, if he was unattractive and was broke, I'd be a little sus. I'd probably say that. But I don't really see someone in his position doing that. So I don't even know why that's even an argument. So that's just my own personal opinion, but I wouldn't change the 9 and 8. It's just the respect part for what I do see him, for what he has done. He does say pretty outlandish things, but again, it's the type of women that he associates with.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that fits for his narrative.
Last question on this. Why do most women not like Tate? And why do you think most men do? I'll ask it again. Why do you think most women don't like him? And why do you think most men do? Go ahead.
I mean, from what I've learned from the other ladies, what they've said, I would think most women don't like him because if he says derogatory things or if he's the type of person who thinks that women are to his disposal, women don't like that. But for men, he might be like that guy, you know, he's got all the ladies, he's got all the women, they're disposable. Like, that's the cool guy. So I would think that that's why for guys and girls.
Gotcha. And does that give you a little glimpse into maybe how men think, or does that not matter?
Yeah, of course. It's not a
Okay.
great way.
All right. It's not a great way to think.
Yeah. Women are not at disposal.
But that's one comment he made out of 10 million hours of content. But that's the one thing a lot of people want to cling their hat on and be like, he said that one property thing. But a lot of men appreciate him for so many other reasons. I'll respond after you guys weigh in. But again, why do you think most women don't appreciate him, and why do you think most men do? Go ahead.
I feel like it's because of the woman perspective and men perspective. Like, woman perspective, we're more emotional. So we take everything to us.
Yeah.
So he's speaking directly to women, so we take it.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at the business side, we take more like women are disposable.
Yeah.
But men has like a different perspective of things. Men doesn't care about what he says about women. That's my thought. They care more about what he say about depression, about business, about how make money.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's more about the perspective of both sides, both sex, maybe.
Men and women have different agendas. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that women don't like him because of how he treats women and how the disrespect there is sometimes with women. And men like him. I literally was introduced to him by a man that was telling me, oh my God, Andrew Tate, he like knows everything possible about business. And I was like, I want to know everything. I want to like listen to every podcast that this man has. So like, I was like, give me a podcast. And that's how but then I also started looking, like he said, everybody hates Andrew Tate. So I was like, what about Andrew Tate do people hate? So then I started like researching what was it that was also bad about him. and then I saw everything that was.
Do you think he's been treated fairly by?
No, I don't. Like if he really wasn't involved in that, then I don't think it was fair, and I think that the cops are just also being led by social media and the media and all of the things that the media puts into your head, and they were like, oh my god, he's a bad guy, but that's literally where the cops need to draw the line. Like, you can't be the same thing as me. You have to put emotion and logic aside and see, like, is this man actually accused of is this man actually guilty of what we say he's being guilty of, or is it just the media trying to make a scene of
Makes
this?
sense. All right, Angela, bring us home, because I know that these women are saying that a lot of women respond emotionally, that I might not like one thing that he said, so now I hate him, right? Whereas a lot of men are like, dude, I've seen this guy saying a million awesome things that I fully agree with.
Right.
Yeah, and there's maybe some questionable things, but I'm not gonna, throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So, what's your perspective?
I think that women don't like him because he's everything that their partner isn't. So he's saying a lot of things that don't align with their experiences as a woman. So if you dated a guy who wasn't manly or wasn't masculine or wasn't leading the relationship, nothing he says will fit in your life. And I think that men that do like him, he's everything you want to be or aspire to be, or need a man in your life to look up to. So I think it's just like a desirable type of thing, and the other one's just like I don't relate to this, so I hate. So
This girl Angela, bro, she's just right there, y'all. Natalia, bring us home. Why do women not like this man or things he says, and why do you think most men do?
Well, I think it's pretty simple. I think Angela hit really great points as well. But if you think about it, he's more of supposed to be an example for gentlemen. So he's going to deliver a message for gentlemen to respond to and understand. It's hard to take advice for somebody who's not in your place or even your gender. Like a man giving you advice how to deal with your period, you're gonna be like, no, you don't know how to.
No, Dylan Mulvaney will help you out
Okay,
with that.
exactly my point. And look how Bud Light is doing now.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time is because we are emotional, there's nothing wrong with that. We have to maybe be delivered the message in a different way. If he's saying women, that's my property, you have to think about it like this. When you have your husband, right, or your man, you want him to claim you, right? You want him to protect you like he's you're his property. You want him to take care of you. You want him to maintain you. You want him to go above and beyond because you're his. So again, it's literally just the context of it. But mind you, in order to get through to some of these gentlemen, you have to have that locker room talk. And I think he's able to get through to some men. And there are some men who just take it overboard and they disrespect women and they don't get the message he's trying to come across. But I think it's the way the message is being delivered. So I like to, especially with the podcast we have and the different people we have, whenever people say things and I maybe get triggered or I may be emotional about it, I take a step back and I'm like, why does that bother me? Right? Where's something in me that's bothering me that I feel offended by this? So I think it's a matter of also coming down to lowering your ego as a woman, and listen, ladies, I get it. Men, sometimes they need to step up. So by default, you become defensive. You become, I don't need one. I can do it myself. And yes, I understand, but you're missing out on how great a man can be when you become like that. So again, I think he's more for, the gentleman to get the guys up and going. Sure, he has flaws. I also don't know him. If you want me to give him a number, I would even say 7 because I don't know him. I'm huge on character, who you are on camera, who you are off camera. I'm huge on that. So I would give him 7 because I never met the guy, but I do like his message. I do think he is a necessary voice for gentlemen today. And ladies, if there are things that he says that offend you, I challenge you to analyze why it offends you, and make your beliefs off of that. And sometimes it takes a lot of courage to lower your ego to accept a message and make it work for you. I'm not saying everything he says is right. I also don't know everything that he says, but I do think he's a necessary voice in the world today for gentlemen, especially with how masculinity is just tanking with everybody making their transitions and changes. So that's my message. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan Peterson.
You're welcome.
So if you like that clip, click right here to watch another, or if you want to watch the entire Soscast, click right here.